My name is Frank Popolizio Jr. I'm from Clifton Park, New York. I've lived in the Capital Region my whole life. I'm associated with Journeyman Wrestling. I'm the owner and director of it. And we promote, advocate, and teach the sport of wrestling. We do a pretty good job at building champions, but part of that is to build people and build their mind, their spirit, their body, you know, the whole thing, not just on the mat. It's about building people in life. And I'm passionate about it. Wrestling is obviously a scholastic sport, but it's more than that. It's perhaps the best sport that mirrors life. You know, you get thrown on your back and you gotta learn how to fight and get off your back and get to your feet. So when I was 12 years old, I think it was 12, I was in the 7th grade. It was 1983. We were going on a trip, part of an off-season wrestling program, tournament competition, and during that experience, or during that night of the competition, I was sexually abused by one of the volunteer coaches. It happened while I was sleeping, and I woke up to it and had to deal with it. And being 85 pounds and being 12 years old, you know, you're not a man to be able to defend yourself, but you put up a fight and you try to give it everything you got, and I did. I became loud, I became vocal. There were other people in the room that you know, struggled to get up and hear the calls, but eventually they did, and that kind of mitigated the situation, but damage was done at that point. I let the leadership know what had happened, and we took it from there, and obviously that put him on his heels, and he left. But that started a journey for me at that point. Being so young, and yeah, you're defenseless. I mean, yeah, I'm in the fight game, but I'm still a little guy, and you're still not mentally mature enough to necessarily metabolize something like that. Unfortunately, it was a time where you didn't talk a lot about it. You didn't necessarily go to counseling about it. You didn't tell a lot of people about it. And much of the mindset back then was, well, if you bring it up, people may look down upon you. And obviously we know that not to be true today. So imagine being in 7th grade and this ugly event happens to you, and you're gonna have to go talk to adults and tell them exactly what happened, graphically, and you feel an element of fear that you're not gonna be believed. Well, there's embarrassment, there's shame, even though you had no control of it. So you're a victim because of what you just experienced, and then you can be a victim again by how people are gonna interpret it. And that's obviously that made it a little difficult. So I think there's a benefit in learning early on about these situations. Obviously, the more education we can have, the better. I'm pretty outspoken, so as soon as it happened, I didn't have fear of seeking out leadership to tell them what had happened and how it happened. The thing that I probably could have done a better job at recognizing was that I was being groomed. And those are the things that these predators, they're good at it. And you have to be aware as a young person when people are trying to pull you into a situation that I'm naive. I'm 12 years old. I had no idea what this guy's intention was. I thought he was passionate about the sport. He was passionate about something else. The Child Victims Act was I felt like a breath of fresh air. I really did. I felt like my opportunity to speak out with a mature mind had passed. And I felt like as I got older and mature, and I wanted to do something about what happened to me, I didn't have that opportunity until this law was passed. And it gave me a sense of I don't know, maybe the word is confidence, that people believe in this situation enough that they have my back, right? Even though it's not personal, but it felt like it was. And I had the ability to go after somebody that tried to trip me up in life or slow me down with this situation. And as they were coming out of prison, I was there to remind them again of, hey, just make sure you're on the right path, because we're going to remind you right here, right now with the Child Victims Act again. You know, for me, I didn't have the opportunity to go after it criminally. I let that time pass. So this is the next best thing for me to keep somebody honest. If I could give advice to others that have had a similar situation, I would encourage them to be outspoken. I would encourage them to be fearless, courageous. I think it's important that you fight. You know, you fight. You gotta fight.